Maps. They've come a long way. They connect us with people, direct us places. They're everywhere in our world. In fact, we would get very lost without them. Since the beginning of exploration, maps have been pivotal for circumnavigating the globe. But today, we use maps for much, much more than just showing us how to get from point A to point B. And the systems that create our maps have become much more complex. So how exactly did we go from this to this? I have this problem, and I think you might have had it too. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. This here is the fastest route to get to church. But it's wrong. I have traveled this route every single Saturday since I was born, and I know that this is the correct passage to take. So why does this map system that can account for minutes of traffic not take me down the little back roads? To answer this question, I need to take you back to where it all began. First maps that were ever recorded were for the purpose of owning things. They were property maps, and ancient Egyptians drew these boundaries to show who owned what land. This here is a picture from the British Museum.
A long time ago, but not long enough ago that it's not still very relevant, everyone in Britain got in a big old boat and we set sail and we robbed, and this will sound far-fetched, everyone in the world. Do you remember that? What a spree that was. Do you remember the Great Heist? What a spree. And we got all the swag, didn't we? And we took it back to old Blighty and we hid it, this is the clever part, we hid it in a museum.
Anyway, these Babylonian clay tablets from 600 BCE show the Euphrates River and also the mountains surrounding the ocean. Claudius Ptolemaeus, or as we know him,
Ptolemy.
Ptolemy was a geographer, a mathematician, and an astronomer. What a resume. And he lived in Roman Egypt. In about 150 AD, he famously posted this scientific paper of its time. It was like a book called Geographia, or today we would call that geography. Now, geography, his book contained thousands of pictures of different maps and places with lines of longitude and latitude. Longitude and latitude, you know, the lines on maps that we use to make coordinates that none of us use today because Google just does everything for us. The system revolutionized European geographical thinking for its time because it incorporated mathematical concepts into the composition of maps. Also, side note, Leonardo da Vinci, the Mona Lisa guy, actually created one of the first satellite maps. Now, he didn't have satellites. He just used these mathematical and scientific concepts to be able to draw a bird's eye view. Before this, people didn't know that they needed a bird's eye view, but that's what most of our maps use today, and it helps our brain understand place and significance. So if you want to check out a little bit about his drawing, and there were lots of mistakes and errors in it, but it was so awesome for its time. And I know you probably think the artist, he was a cartographer, he delved into some medicine, absolute genius. Check out Vox's video on this one here if you're interested. So fast forward to 1822, and this guy named Charles Babbage creates the first computer. Then skip forward to 1854, and there was a massive cholera outbreak. Now, this guy called John Snow at the time was looking into why this was spreading, and everybody believed that it was airborne. So if you smelt bad things, you would contract cholera. Now, we know today that that's not true, and the reason that John Snow found out that it wasn't true was using one of the earliest versions of a GIS system. What he did was he mapped all of the outbreaks with all of the properties which had the outbreaks and all of the different systems that went to those properties. What he found was that cholera was actually spreading in the water because people were drinking and using water from pumps that were also linked to the sewage water. Now, today, we use GIS for an assortment of different things. Fast forward about 100 years after the outbreak, and a man called Howard Fisher created one of the first geographic systems online called SciMap. From here, the Geographic Information System was born, and it's used to essentially track and store all of this information to link the what and where relationship. So back in Jon Snow's day, the what was cholera, and he found out where it was happening to be able to draw and analyze information of some of the root causes and save lives. Today, we are still using the same technology in a more modern form. An easier way to think of it is everything happens somewhere, and GIS allows us to visualize the relationship between what and where. Like these maps here, they show COVID infections by locations. As we go through this unit and we learn about the diminishing biodiversity in our world, we're going to see that almost all of this information has come from GIS systems. Snow's work demonstrated that GIS is a problem-solving tool. By understanding this relationship of what and where, we can solve complex problems that might also help us to make better decisions and save lives. I've been sitting here editing and I realize I never even answered the question. So, why does Google take me down this road instead of this one? And to put it simply, GIS gives Google a lot of different information, from traffic to also school zones. And one of the reasons that could account for why it takes me down this road is topography, the shape of the land. Google knows that the road I like to take, is uphill. And as we know, cars don't go as fast on an incline.